Hi guys, it's Catherine. I hope you're doing well. Again, I've not posted for several weeks just because I've been moving house and been super busy, but I'm settled in my new place now and will definitely be posting more videos in the next few weeks. I've already got a couple planned in the run up to Halloween, which I'm excited for, but today I'm going to be talking about books that have just been released or are about to be released in the kind of autumn season, which is a really busy time for publishers because they're publishing all their books in the run up for Christmas when they hope they'll be making their biggest sales and they're releasing some of their most exciting titles. There's a couple of them I already own, so I'll show you those ones first. And the first one of those is Transcription by Kate Atkinson, and this was published just a couple of weeks ago by Doubleday, an imprint of Penguin. I haven't yet read any of her other books, but she's an author that I've heard a lot of good things about, and this one in particular is about a female spy who's in MI5s during World War II, and it's the kind of book that I might not automatically be attracted towards, but I have confidence that her writing itself is very accomplished, so I have high hopes for this one, and I have a copy already, so I'll hopefully be reading it over the next month or two. Next is Melmoth by Sarah Perry, and this just came out last week and I pre-ordered a copy because it was one of those books that had such a comprehensive marketing campaign that I totally fell for it, and I was extremely excited to get my hands on this. It's the follow-up to Sarah Perry's previous novel, The Essex Serpent, which was, universally acclaimed. It was, I think, Waterstone's Book of the Year. It won lots of prizes, it had a very beautiful cover, and it was a stunning book, I think, in itself. And this is particularly interesting to me because it is based on Melmoth the Wanderer by Charles Maturin, an 1820 Gothic novel, which I read when I was at university, and I found it very fascinating, a very strange novel with a kind of nested narrative, but one that I felt like was much more broad in scope than a lot of the other Gothic novels that were published around that same time. So this is a sort of updated version where this spectral figure of Melmoth is a female, and it's set in Prague, or at least the part that I've read so far is set in Prague, following an isolated young woman who I think begins to be followed by this mysterious otherworldly figure. I'm pretty sure I will be doing a full review of this book because I've been excited for it for quite a long time, and I am sure I will have quite a lot of good things to say about it, although if I hate it that will also be an interesting video. Next is one that comes out next Tuesday, the 9th of October, Killing Commendatore by Haruki Murakami, translated by Ted Goosen and Philip Gabriel. Haruki Murakami is one of those authors for me that I will read whatever they write, so I actually know very little about this novel, and for me, I don't need to. I will be buying it and reading it regardless. Either way, Murakami novels have a very particular flavour, so you do kind of know what you're going to get. As far as I know, this one follows a very typical Murakami character who is a 30-something-year-old man who is quite insular. He is a painter and he escapes to the mountains when his wife decides to divorce him. And in this house that he moves to, he discovers a very weird painting, and I am pretty certain a lot more weirdness will ensue from this. I've read a couple of reviews of this book already which have been quite lukewarm. They certainly don't seem to say this is any sort of epic like perhaps a couple of novels before, Q-Teen84 was, which is one of my favourite novels ever. So that's a little bit disappointing, but I'm definitely going to find out what I think for myself, and I'm sure I will be sharing it with you. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure if it has the kind of textures and the writing style that I expect from Murakami, I'm going to enjoy it anyway. Another one that's coming out next week on the 11th of October is Bridge of Clay by Markus Zusak, and he is of course the author of The Book Thief, which came out 11 years ago, and he's not written anything since, so this is quite a long-awaited next novel from him. And I remember reading The Book Thief and really enjoying it at the time, although I'm not sure I would necessarily feel the same way about it now. I know some people have had that experience rereading it as an adult, but regardless I still think this could have potential to be a very interesting book. It follows 5 brothers who are living alone without a parent. So an interesting premise, and one that I think I'll wait and see some reviews for and then maybe get it, or maybe get it from the library. Another one that I've been really excited to read is Ghost Wall by Sarah Moss, and this is published by Granta, who I think publish really interesting, exciting books. Sarah Moss wrote The Tidal Zone, which is one of the best books I read last year, and she also wrote The Names for the Sea, which is a semi-autobiographical book about her time living in Iceland which is really interesting, especially if you're interested in Icelandic or Scandinavian culture. Even in her non-fiction, her writing is extremely atmospheric, so I'm really interested to see her writing in a slightly more creepy or supernatural way. I'm not sure this book is exactly like that, but it's called Ghost Wall, so I think so, and the cover is pretty creepy, so I am hoping, especially the time of year that it's published, will mean that it has those kind of Halloween-y vibes. The blurb for this book is very vague because it's under 150 pages and I don't think they want to spoil the plot at all, but as far as I can tell it's about a teenage girl called Sylvie who lives in a hut in Northumberland with her parents as an exercise in experimental archaeology. So it sounds like a very unusual book, and it's one of those ones that I feel a little bit guilty about saying that I'm loath to purchase because it's something that I will probably read in an hour or maybe 2 hours, and it's a nice hardback, so it's sort of £13. So I might try and wait for it to come out in the library, but I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of other people who are excited for it, so I'll probably end up buying it. The next one is one that I've not heard anyone really talking about at all. It's The Corset by Laura Purcell. That came out on the 20th of September, so it's been out for a couple of weeks now. But actually, I didn't really hear people talking about her previous novels, The Silent Companions, when I really think people ought to know about it. If you've read The Miniaturist, you know the kind of vibe that it's going for. Pretty creepy, young woman discovers strange doll-like figures in her home, but yeah, The Silent Companions is actually quite a frightening book, I found, more so than any that I've read recently. So if you've not read that one, I would really recommend it. This one's fairly similar in the sense that it's a Victorian era murder mystery about a young seamstress who is awaiting trial for murder, and a wealthy young woman who has an interest in phrenology, and she visits the prison where this other woman is kept in the hopes that she will be able to study the skull size and shape of the criminals to discover whether or not this shape of their skull has any bearing on their criminal activity or their capacity for evil. Sounds really fascinating to me, so I hope to read it in the next few months and then hopefully talk about it here so that maybe more people will know about her, because I find her writing particularly creepy. So I really hope this book has that same vibe as the previous one. The last one is something a little bit more light-hearted than a lot of the other ones that I've mentioned, which are clearly aiming for the Halloween and Christmas market. It's The Tales of Beedle the Bard, illustrated by Riddell. Of course, this is written by J.K. Rowling. It was featured in her Harry Potter series, and it has been published as an individual book before, but this one is fully illustrated by one of my favourite illustrators. His style, I think, will really complement these kind of strange, bizarre, whimsical stories. And also this book is published in aid of Lumos, which is J.K. Rowling's charity which aims to end the institutionalisation of children, so it's all for a good cause, and I'm sure I'll end up buying this one too. So those are all the books that have come out recently or are just about to come out that I'm really looking forward to, and it is only adding to the already enormous pile of unread books that I have, which is starting to stress me out slightly. So I do really hope to start spending more time reading and more time making videos, because it's something that I really enjoy. So I will definitely be posting a review of Melmoth when I finish reading that, as long as I've got something to say interesting about it. And then later in this month I want to make a video that is about books that are good to read around Halloween, so generally quite scary or creepy or disturbing books. So, and those are books that I love. So I will look forward to making that, and I will see you very shortly. Okay, bye bye.